Hey, hello everyone, this is Highlander from MTGC Cardsmith doing another custom Magic the Gathering card review, and today we're reviewing a card by Suleman, our friend. This is another card from his Cycle of Ages, which are enchantments with this era mechanic, which I will read here. This enters the battlefield with an era counter for each player. When the last era counter is removed from it, sacrifice it. This has 3:, remove an era counter from this. Any player may activate this ability. So what do we have here? We've got Age of Ill Omens, 1 double black enchantment. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, they may pay 2 life. If they do, they scry 1, then draw a card. I gotta read this flavor text. Tonight, you will be visited by 3... Let me try this again. Tonight, you will be visited by 3 spirits. Do what they say, or your chains will be heavier than mine. This guy's like, who are you? How did you get in my house? Okay, so how do we feel about this card? I'm the thing that I find so hard about, so difficult about these era cards that make them difficult to like for me is the fact that they have these there's some word for this that I'm blanking on, unfortunately, but they have these the effect is for everybody, right? Everybody gets this effect, and that means that you, as the person that plays it, are at a disadvantage because you are using a card and spending 3 mana on something that benefits other people, and not only that, they get first crack at this, right? So it's like you play this, you don't get anything out of it, and then your opponents get to start drawing cards and scrying. You know, 2 life is nothing in Commander, but I'm paying 2 life to scry 1 and draw a card in 1v1. In some matchups, that's quite good. In some matchups, it's awful. For like, if you're playing an aggressive deck, this card is better for you. So you don't want to play this in a control deck unless it's control v control, but in control v control they get the same thing. So in control v control this is actually a bad card because they get first crack at it. You're down a card and down 3 mana and they go up cards, right? So you don't want to play this in a control mirror. In a creature mirror, I mean, it kind of depends on whose deck can go long better. If you're playing against a deck that's very aggressive, this card's bad because, again, you're paying 3 mana to do nothing, and all of a sudden they get to start Phyrexian Arenaing. You're just like giving them a Phyrexian Arena, and you don't want to pay the life because you're getting beat down, right? So again, this is another card that has like very limited. I mean, there are some situations where this would be good. If you are yourself a very aggressive black deck, or maybe some sort of a deck that has ways to keep the opponent's resources very low. Well, no, even in that situation, it's bad because then they'll just use this to get the resources back. So it's really this is really only good, I think, if you're playing an aggressive black deck against a defensive, a card that is, or a deck that is on the defensive. So in that situation, this card could be good. And again, the fact that removing era counters costing 3 is pretty prohibitive. Like, if you're in that situation that I'm talking about, the situation where, you know, you're playing against an aggressive player and you're on the defensive, paying 6 mana to remove this is, you know, again, it's 2 installments, but it's still 6 mana. That's a lot of mana you're not spending on keeping yourself alive, right? So this era text may as well not be there. is kind of what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm having trouble with these era cards. Again, the fact that everybody gets the effect, like, I get it, right? It's interesting in the sense that, like, okay, so everybody gets this effect. Hopefully you build your deck so that you can take better advantage of it. And then your opponent has the opportunity to get rid of it, or if you ever get into a situation where your opponent is benefiting more from this, then you can get rid of it. But it's like so expensive, it's so prohibitively expensive to get rid of this, that it doesn't seem like this text matters that much. Like, yeah, okay, sometimes that it'll happen. If you play this card late game, for example, they might just spend 6 mana and just kill your card, right? So like in that situation, it's pretty detrimental, because it's like, okay, I'm in this like long game. Oh look, I drew an Age of Ill Omens that'll let me draw cards. But instead, what'll happen is you'll play the Age of Ill Omens. They'll scry 1, draw a card, and then they'll pay 6 mana and kill this. And now you've paid 3 mana for them to give them a card and have them pay 6 mana. And it's like, yeah, they paid 6 mana, so that's not great for them. But you've also paid, you've paid 3 mana to essentially give them a card. Yeah, man, I have some trouble with these. I have to say, I'm not really the biggest fan of these. Again, they seem more like they're aimed towards multiplayer, and I don't play a lot of multiplayer, so I'm not the best judge of cards like this. But I'm also not, I can't really. I'm a very competitive person. Let me say that again in a different way. When I'm a player of Magic, I play very competitively. So the idea of playing a card that benefits everybody does not appeal to me in the least. Now, there are some people, I think, some people play Commander for different reasons. Some people just want to hang out with their friends and all hug each other and all draw cards together. And in that situation, this card's fine. And then this guy who doesn't like your joy, he's going to eventually get rid of this thing, right? So, I mean, I find the design ideas to be interesting, but I don't feel like the execution is there. I guess is the best way of putting this. Like, if this at least said at the beginning of each player's end step, at least then you get the opportunity to draw a card when you play this. Instead of having to wait until it gets to your turn to draw a card, and everybody else has already done it and sort of had their way with you. And then there's this era cost, which is like it's like expensive enough to where it doesn't matter until the late game, when it makes these cards basically pretty bad, right? So, like, I don't know. I have a really hard time with these cards. The white one so far has been the most interesting. This one at least has an effect that's reasonable. Unlike the red one, which I think had a very, very, very slight effect. But I have a hard time finding reasons to want to play this card over, like, I would rather just play Phyrexian Arena. It's just a better card. I mean, it's just a way better card. So yeah, that's what I have to say about Age of Omens. This card I have to give a 5 out of 10. Again, the ideas here are interesting. I just don't think the execution's quite there. So yeah, 5 out of 10 for Age of Omens. Hope to see something a little bit more interesting for green and, let's see, what's the other color that I'm missing? Green and blue. So yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.